We got like 4 couches. I don't know if it's as high as this back here.
Yeah, he hasn't been to our meeting for a while.
From up here, same way they make the hollow core doors for the interior. Pick the lining and then it's got a honeycomb
It could work if you mix it with rosin.
Make a death.
Yeah, it's a lot lighter duty.
Yeah.
Material.
Did you see that cardboard coming back there?
It was kind of shaped like a dog.
Laminating, that's a cardboard.
Yeah.
That's cardboard.
That's one of those things. It's got all of that. But screws through that hole, so your neck is very good. And then the thing is, okay, so.
Hello, John.
Hello, Jerry.
Dwight? Thank you, Jerry.
Okay. So we built this house, and they was gonna call it tonight, and we looked at it, it's first phase.
That's a 13.
Here's the house to show us. We have to.
It's a good time spot here. Yeah.
No, I'm not before that. It was, we seen the house, we had possession of it. He built it.
Where you go out there to visit?
Huh?
Where you go out there to visit?
Over there?
Arizona.
Because his thing was there, he didn't use it. We get sponsors out there. We get
Trying to stay out of mischief.
Zoom? Is it Zoom?
based on color.
Six people got in the house truck.
As a landscape, he does just sitting out there around along the unions. Save him on Rick's truck. Power washing.
A lot of the medical procedures are showing.
I've heard more, I've never heard more, but I've heard more where they're trying to get it off on the. Oh, yeah. All right. Yep. And he's only got a 10-inch.
Fog's coming in.
Alright, what are you doing that for? It's fine earlier. Test.
He's a big, well, Woodturners does the hollow corner of the door is. But he's seen some of the doors. I don't think it was in Louisville, one before that, Chattanooga.
Alright, that sound good?
Yeah.
Alright. We're
Half that side.
Let me get my notes here.
All right. I forgot to get out the bell, so everybody heard the foghorn go off, so I figure that's good sounding off for the ninth meeting. Good to see everybody after missing last month, so glad to see everybody's here. It was a little cold last month, so was happy to see some of you over in Decatur got out and did some turning though.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Had a good meal too.
Yeah. So, let's see, what do I got here? Excuse me. Some notes. Turn on Chicago. That one just recently came out. That one's going to be August 2nd through the 4th up in Northbrook, Illinois. Midwest Painters Gathering. That one's out now. It's going to be April 19th and 20th up at Hoffland and States like it was last year. So, both up there in Chicago. Couple items that have been floating around. Steve, do you still have that fridge or you get rid of that?
I do still have it, I did not bring it tonight.
Okay. If anybody wants one, Steve's got a little fridge. He sent out an email on it if you want like a little kiln. It doesn't work, but if you want like a little fridge to keep wood in and heat it up, warm it up, basically make a little impromptu kiln.
Let me know tonight, because it's probably going to the scrapyard tomorrow.
Yeah, so let them know. I got another note in the email from Sheila Pitts. She has a Jet 1221 lathe for sale. I contacted her about it today and she still has it, so she said price is negotiable on it, but she had $900 on the email. That's for the lathe and stand.
Is she getting out of turning altogether? Or?
I didn't ask. That's kind of my guess on it. So she's going to be also selling, well, she did mention in the email that she's selling the turning tools later this spring, so. Yeah. Demonstrations. I know we don't have too many lined up right now. John's graciously doing his demonstration on the Axminster.
Yeah.
Is that how you pronounce it?
It's close enough.
The Excentric chuck. Axminster. The Excentric chuck, and if you look over there, you can see a couple of crankshaft looking turnings over there. Those are neat. So he'll be doing his demonstration tonight. We'll need something for the rest of the year. Everything's open from March to December. Crowbar?
Next month, shop tips.
What is it?
Shop tips.
Shop tips? All right.
You need the lathe brought out or leave it, put it up?
Bring it out.
Bring it out.
Thanks for bringing that up, Sam. I always try to ask. So that's March. Anybody else have any ideas for demonstrations they would like to see?
Emerging bowl.
What was that?
An emerging bowl.
Emerging bowl?
Oh.
I don't think I've even heard of that one.
Yeah, I started one.
Is he asking or are you volunteering?
I'm asking because I'd like to see it.
Oh. I thought you were volunteering.
That's what I was going to put them down for April.
That may not be good practice.
Yeah. May have to do a little looking on that one to find it. Is there any like popular demonstrators we'd like to see? I know I've talked about in the past about getting one of them in here for or at least doing an online style demonstration.
I'd like to see Mark Soleil.
Mark Soleil?
S-I-L-A-Y, I think.
No, it's S-A-L-L-U-I.
I'll look them both up and see if I can find them.
What kind of work does he do?
He does about everything, but he stresses that you don't need sanding paper.
Oh.
And yeah.
Good with his skew and good with his grinding, I'd say.
And I don't know that he does remote demos.
S-I-L-A-Y.
Right.
Okay.
He's that super glue that I've talked about a few times. I've
Yeah.
purchased it.
Mark Soleil, S-I-L-A-Y.
All right.
Where's he from?
Florida.
No.
Yeah, well, let's see if he's capable
I
of.
know that he goes to other clubs and demonstrates, but I don't know if he does the remote.
Does he have a YouTube?
He's on
I've
YouTube.
got a couple things on YouTube.
Yeah. Got a woods license now. I'm looking at his website right now. Mark Soleil, S-I-L-L-A-Y.
Just one L, I think.
Well, maybe I got a different guy, but coincidentally, he's a woodturner too.
Maybe it is two L's. I've been wrong before, I've been married twice, you know.
We could go a long way with that, Sam.
Yeah. To the same woman though.
That's where I was going.
Yeah. How smart is that?
And how many?
All right.
I'll take you, right?
Yeah, maybe. All right, now we'll look into Mark and see if we can find anything on him and if he would be interested in doing a demonstration of what his charges are. Anybody else have any other ideas? Corey?
I'll be glad to do a demo in like June, July, or August, because when we do it, we'll have to do it out here on the back parking lot. Pyrotechnic finishes.
Pyrotechnic finishes?
Yeah.
Is that like using the electric stuff?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, totally different, not the Lichtenberg stuff,
All right.
no.
Yeah, if it's gonna be Lichtenberg, I was gonna nix that right now.
July is pyrotechnic.
Yeah, no.
Do we have to have the fire department on hand?
Depends. It'll be a training
Do you need
We do have a cross-training opportunity. We do have an air cleaner right above the lane.
do you need the lathe for it?
Huh?
Do you need the lathe out there?
No. These will all be pieces that I have already turned and pretty much sanded out, and then demonstrate 3 different ways to do some pyrotechnic finishes on
All
them.
right.
Shoot fireworks.
3 ways to burn a hole?
You betcha. Yeah.
One thing I'll have to check into is with the folks here, if they're okay with that, so
Yeah, well, that's
make sure.
because one of them puts off an incredible amount of smoke. That's why I was going to do it. We
Yeah.
do the show out in here and do the raffle and all that stuff, and then go out on the driveway and do it. It's nothing of explosion, okay? It's just
It's just a lot of smoke and
yeah.
possibility of something catching on fire at some point.
Well, I'm hoping not, but
Yeah.
you never know. You know?
Yeah, be a good idea to do out there in the parking lot. I'll check with Joe and all them to make sure.
Okay.
If you can give me like some YouTube links or something like that of what, or some pictures of what it is.
Yeah.
So that way I can communicate with
Well,
Joe and all them.
Basically, I'll start out with using a pistol gunpowder finish on a piece, and then go to rifle powder, and then go to potassium nitrate and sugar.
So you're gonna be firing something at it, or just?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say.
No.
All right, we're gonna get Champagne Police involved in this one too.
Yeah.
No, it's,
Let me turn the YouTube off real quick.
yeah. And no, these are finishes that people have used for over the years, and the problem with them is that if you try to send them through the mail without having a good coat of finish on them, it'll be picked up by the glycerin and the gunpowder.
Yeah.
And so you have trouble sending them through the mail. But other than that, it makes for a really a very pretty finish on stuff.
Do you have to have a FOID card to buy the gunpowder?
I haven't ever had to before, but I'm not sure.
Indiana's not far.
I went to
If we do it,
I went to a gun shop last time. I needed some stuff. Went to a gun shop in Connecticut, walked in and said, I need a pound of pistol powder and a pound of rifle powder, and they went, oh, okay. And I said, do I need any other identification? And they said, no. So
yeah,
But
if you get it around
that
here,
was-
you'll probably need a Ford.
that was a number of years ago, so things could have changed by then.
Yeah.
Still like that.
If it's here in Illinois, you're more than likely will need a Ford card. I had to
Buy the-
show it for some pigeon shotgun shells a while back. So.
Yeah, so I will be going out sometime soon out to like Lovington or whatever to gun store.
Right.
and see if I can pick up those things. Otherwise.
If you need help with it, just give me a holler.
Yeah, okay.
Would July be all right then? Because it's 4th of July and all that?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. But the thing of it is, when we get ready to do the meeting in July, if it happens to be raining, that would kind of throw it off a little bit. That's why I'm saying June, July, or August, whichever works best for us.
No, August might be a little dry for something
Yeah.
like that. I don't know how much stuff goes around everywhere, but I mean, you're just talking about smoke and everything, right?
It doesn't. When you set off the pistol powder, you get a lot of sulfur smoke.
Is it a black powder or is it just a regular gunpowder?
Regular gun.
Oh, yeah?
But when you set it off, it's like the old tin type photography that they had the tray of whatever they had, and they'd set it off and get a great big sulfur cloud going.
Yeah.
It's lots of fun to do.
Yeah, I've done reloading and I've got rid of some old
Yeah.
gunpowder by
Yeah.
tossing on the fire real quick and running away.
Yeah.
How'd that work out for you?
I never run faster.
Don't back it up high.
If you ever want to see me run fast, throw gunpowder on a fire. But, no, we can check it out. Let me check with Joe and find out for sure, but we'll kind of plan that one for July then, so.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Hope I can read my notes later. All right. Any other ideas?
I can turn something that somebody wants me to, you know what I turn.
I know there was a mention of a square bowl last meeting. Do we want
I
to,
said a bob bowl last time.
what's that?
The bowl from the board, the bob bowl.
A bob bowl?
That would be
I heard of a bob bowl.
Bowl from board.
the same thing as the turkey.
Then like a square bowl?
It's not a square bowl, you make an actual bowl out of it, but you take instead of having a big plank, you have, a flat. And then you come in at it with a parting tool at an angle, and you basically glue it back together and build it out.
Cut concentric rings out of the bowl
Okay.
and glue them back together. Look like one over there.
So it's kind of like segment and turning, except each segment is a ring, a full ring.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that one.
That would be good.
Well, what I've seen somebody do is basically take just a post,
Yeah.
and kind of slot it, and then you can set that in your tool rest,
Oh,
Well,
and set your angle with the protractor for each part.
everybody think about it for
okay.
what's coming up. Jerry, I know you said something on, if you have any ideas on what you want to do or something, but we'll get the rest of the year figured out here. I'll just go on
I
from
can do
here.
square bowls.
Yeah. Yeah, I just had a note in here about a square bowl, so I didn't know if that was still an option.
Yeah, you brought that up
Yeah.
last time.
So I don't think we've seen a square bowl for probably since the old Carpenter's Hall.
I've got a Silicon Valley Woodturners challenge list here. Here's a couple ideas that they've been doing. They do stuff on embellishments. They have something called a treen. Looks like a little coffee scooper thing, treen. Is that terminology? I don't know yet. A 4x4x4, something made out of a 4x4x4 piece of wood. Something with a fancy finial. Inside out turning, we've done that. Orthogonal, multi-axis. I've never even
Yeah, I never heard of that one.
imagined that. Looks like a big jack, big jack. Tops, we've done tops
I think
before.
we've had something like a jack that Kurt did.
Lidded boxes. So there's quite a few ideas throwing them out there, guys. They got this one that says it came from out of the sky. Looks like a bird feeder that is a spaceship, So there's, themes.
That's the other thing I was thinking about too for the President's Challenge for next month was turn something alien.
Okay.
And I'll show you when I get over to the show and tell here what I'm talking about.
Or your favorite chess piece.
So yeah, President's Challenge, turn something alien.
Let's turn something alien.
And
Saturn bowls count for that.
Saturn Bowl count, that's out of this world. I've got a little flying UFO over there that I made during last night. So.
Remote control?
No, well, it can be remote control, but it only goes in one direction. One thing I did forget to ask, I see a new face in here. We got a new visitor here. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Olivia. I'm Cody's friend. I'm a freshman at U of I. I'm an electrical engineer. I want to get into woodturning because it's really cool.
Thanks for coming.
Welcome.
Have you seen his work?
That's how I got it.
Yeah.
You're learning from a skilled craftsman there.
Yeah. Cody's a very high standard to go by there. So, thank you for coming in tonight.
Chris,
We finally got a.
you know Chris?
She doesn't yet. I was hoping he'd be here.
Don't introduce him.
All right, I don't have anything else on my notes. Anybody else have anything to bring up? Anything new?
Anybody hear anything about coming Saturday?
Not yet.
Nothing yet.
For 2024?
No. I'll give him a.
Who's gonna be in
Well,
charge
that's-
this year?
Mark's not president anymore.
Yeah, Mark's not
Who
present.
take charge?
No, Dan Dixon is, but Dan's in California now.
This is October, right?
We got till October.
Well, what club's gonna take lead on this?
Well, I'm thinking in Bloomington.
Okay. Okay. So you think the 12th is the Columbus Day weekend. The 5th is just a regular weekend. You know what weekend they might have it? Okay. October.
Yeah, we'll figure out.
Then that's the other
closer.
thing, is October, cancer, we're gonna still do the demo over at the CU shop.
I don't know.
The lawyer is supposed to be setting all that up. I'm thinking they would still let us, but
Yeah. Follow up with the.
we did last year.
yeah, time closer to October, I'll contact them. No, so I'm gonna be out of state for 3 of the Saturdays in October.
Oh, my word. We'll come back with the date that you're gonna be here, and that'll be the day we'll have it.
All right. So, with that in mind, we'll go ahead and do the show and tell. Let me flip this camera around here real quick. Knock the tripod over. So, the alien challenge for next month. This guy I almost forgot. I left him at work today. But I've been watching a guy on Instagram. He's been making little flying saucers every day. He'll put up a posting about a reel about it, flying saucers with a little diorama underneath it. And I just kind of got the idea of building a whole diorama out of an old train set I've got, and then have an alien ship flying over the top of it. And this I just kind of glued together to kind of see what the idea was, and it kind of gave me the idea of doing a President's Challenge for next month of something out of this world. Doesn't have to be a UFO, it could be a Saturn bowl or some other thing. Could be like a weird little spaceship made out of Excentric type thing. Or a monster, huh? But I was showing this to my boss today, and he's from Russia. And he's like, this reminds me of a toy I had when I was a kid, and he started describing it, and it's like, yes. And it's like a Yara top that spun around like that, and I remember seeing them, but I never knew what they were called. And I think I missed them because I was a 70s kid, so. But
That's more 50s and 60s kid.
yeah. But we brought up the idea. I was like, okay, what can this do? Yeah, let me put this on the table here. And I thought, okay, this is going to be a challenge. This is going to be the top challenge for this year.
Wow, all right.
What kind of wood, John?
It's got a cherry, it's on the, pointing towards the table right now, it's got a maple and a walnut. And
Really nice.
I didn't even intend to do that, but
Good work.
it just keeps on going too. I mean, it'll even like, every once in a while, just kind of wobble and catch itself and come back and,
Be entertained for hours or something like that.
To get us, put a groove in it and use the string.
yeah. I mean, it does have the grooves I've burned into it, but yeah. Doesn't have to be that. If we wanted to make it a little spinning top challenge, that's fine too. Maybe sometime later this year, we'll have another top challenge. We haven't done that for a couple of years. So, that's my little show and tell today. So.
Take it on first.
Yep.
So I was saying here, when I first started coloring things, I was experimenting, and you know, you go through Hobby Lobby and they've got everything in the world back there. So I picked up a bunch of colored pencils, and they were watercolor pencils. I didn't even know what they were, but I did this with them. I didn't like it, so it's the only one that was ever made. But it was just something to try when you're trying out everything. This was one of my favorites. This is done with an airbrush and water-based colors. And this is one that I really, really liked.
Very nice.
Excellent.
I don't need anything, thank you. I don't know what you're supposed to show here.
Well,
This is sheer
turn something, show
stupidity,
it.
I found out. I seen them make their own tools, and I should not have tried it. I did not know what I was ordering when I ordered the metal. This is supposed to be a stainless. I was an iron worker. No big deal, I can drill and tap that. No, I broke 3 taps in every one of these and 3 drill bits in each one. I don't know what it is. But this is an experiment, because I seen one where the guy had 6 and 8 sided tools. I thought that looks interesting, so that's why I did that. These handles probably come off and I'll try to redo the stuff. That's all I was up to.
John Kreitberg from Decatur. Haven't turned any pins in a long time, can't turn for them. How do you want to do it? So anyway, I did a few pins, and I brought a couple of them over. Probably did 2 dozen of them all together, because my wife wanted some of them. So I brought a couple of pins over. Did a little interesting bowl. This is apricot, and it had this nub sticking out, and it's pretty much decayed. I put a little epoxy in it, and it's not your typical bowl, but I kind of like the little rascal. The other thing that I saw a YouTube video on a multi-axis turning, and so I wound up with some really pieces of nice wood there. The walnut and the curly maple turned out to be pretty nice. If I did it again, I think I could do a little bit better job of making this round instead of oval. But it was the first one, so I learned a little bit doing it. So it's pretty cool. I don't know where I got that little guy, but I've had him for about 15 years, and I thought that he belonged on it. And the other thing we've got is what we're going to talk about in our demo. The Axminster spiraling eccentric chuck. And you can do turning like this, where you have a side-to-side offset, and it has some adjustment as to how much you want to do the offset. And we'll go through part of the demo on that. And then it has the ability to do a spiral. So that's a spiral we did, and this is a little bit longer one that we did. And we've got a little information. We'll go through and do a little talking about it, and then we'll actually try to turn one of them. So that's what we got.
Sam Forrest from Mountain Lion. I've not been in the shop much the last 4 months, but I did go in last week, and John's been coming to my shop for a long time. I haven't had a parting tool. So John gifted me a parting tool, so I knocked the handle off of it, and then last week I went out and I made my own handle for it. So that's all I've done in 4 months, so there you go.
Okay. No. Doug?
Well, Doug Bowling. I don't know how many of you do turning for people who come to you and say, can you do something for me? When I was up to Gordyville, I had a gal stop by and said, I've got this burl. It's been sitting in my barn for 10, 12 years. She said, you think you could make something out of it? Well, I made a mistake of saying, well, I'll see what I can do for you. So I went over and I picked up the burl. And I want to show you this burl. We'll get to it here yet. There's the burl. Now that log is 3 feet in diameter. So you see the size of the burl on it. On the end, I cut off the end of it and I made a piece from that. And you can see it's very much spalted. This is the piece that came from there. Had a big inclusion in it, but I had hopes, hey, this looks good and solid. So I then went in and I cut I took an 8-foot slice through that burl.
Might be too close.
Isn't that pretty? The only place that has solid wood is about 2 inches around the outside of it. So I said, well, maybe I can make something out of it. And I cut a chunk out of it, and I started turning on it. Here's what I came up with. I couldn't cut hardly anything away on the bottom of it because I was going to be too thin. So I turned enough to grip it. I mean, there's places I didn't have a hold of it at all on that thing. I don't know if you can see that well enough there, but I've only just about 3/16 to hang on to it, and it's not all the way around. But I put it, went ahead and turned it between centers, and then when I chucked it up, I of course brought my center in and held it while I cut it out. And amazing thing, because it was so wormy, these areas in here were really weak. But the gal, the problem was that I told her, I'll make what I can out of it, and you get your choice of the pieces. Those are the only 2 pieces I want to get. Because the rest of it is too flat. This had a little bit of a hump in it, so I could get that thickness. The rest of it is way too thin. I don't think I can get another piece out of it. And that burl was 3 feet by 2 feet.
Oh, wow.
And it was hollow on the inside. See if I can get back to show you what the thing looked like on the inside. to get to it. There's the inside of it. Not much to work with.
Inside of a wall,
It's maple, that's the only good thing about it. So she gets her choice of these two pieces, but it's one of those things that I thought when I picked it up, that hey, I had a chance, this thing looked pretty good. Man, it was worthless. So those kind of things happen sometimes. I say, I'll end up with one of those to sell, I guess.
On the bigger piece, on the bottom, there's a spot that's got orange in it.
There were several spots
Well,
in that log that had that.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it is.
I've got some wood at home that has that same orange in it, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
but it's there, it's not paint, it's in the wood.
Looks like a
There
rust
were
almost.
several spots when I cut it out. It was like that.
what kind of finish?
Hey Doug, what kind of finish?
Interesting. On this side, it's urethane, spray on urethane. This is lacquer on this side. Nobody's gonna have it around water or anything like that on that, but I did lacquer just because I thought it looked better than the urethane would. It's just one of those things that I at least got something out of it. So you sometimes get yourself into a pickle and do the best you can.
Here you go, Doug.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is the second and last thing that I've turned. So, it's a lidded box, and I think that's funny because it doesn't seem like a box to me. So, but I messed up on the lid, but I guess it looks cool now. So I don't know. It's made of oak, and I like it. I don't know.
It looks nice.
It's not a mess up, it's a feature now.
That's what Cody told me too.
All right, Cody Jones, Urbana, campaign, whatever. So the first piece I have here, I don't remember if I brought this in before, but this was a piece of buckeye that I had got from the Landscape Recycling Center. I turned it, and then I hated the shape. It was too fat and chunky, and then it also started cracking a little bit. And so I went in and I cut out some spots for like bookmark or bow ties, even though they're just like little rectangles. So I've got a bunch of them that they're not really necessary, and really there was only one big crack that may have continued. But if you just do one, then it looks like a mistake. So, you know, there's 3 on that one, 2 there. You know, I kind of slapped them in kind of all over the place that there was a defect. And, you know, I'm happier with it. I still don't think the shape's great. I got to finish off the bottom, and I'm going to add a few more coats of finish to this, wipe on poly. I had already previously finished it when I thought I was done, and it's got awesome grain, and you'll be able to see that a little bit. So that'll come out a lot more, but, so that's one. And then I had I've got a bunch of U-stumps, and the lathe that I've had this whole time has 10-inch diameter, which isn't very big. And so I have to spend a lot of time cutting up all of the stumps that I have to get them on the lathe. But I went over to Steve's shop and took a bunch of them and was able to rough them down to smaller pieces on his big lathe, so that I could then get them on mine. So this is one of those. This one I'm also not necessarily thrilled with the shape, but I think it's okay. But just a big U-stump vessel, cool figure. There were some nails or staples in the top, which was fun on the tools. You can still see one of those in there if you look. So that was a fun little surprise. And then I had taken a hand, I don't know, 5 or 6 pieces over and roughed them out. This is another one I roughed out over at his place. And this one I'm really happy with the shape, the color. I mean, the purple's in there. That looks like it would be a, you know, stain or something, but that's just the wood. and liked the shape. And I really liked Steve's lathe, and it's a Rikon 3040, 31-inch diameter. So I got one of those. So,
Steve, you need commission on that.
yeah, so I got that set up last week, and so I've turned a few things on it. They're drying. Like I had a few logs of mulberry that I haven't been able to do anything with because they're big logs, but I've got some like 13-inch plates that, for me are big and nice, but like I can do a lot bigger. So now I can get bigger pieces of wood. So that's good. Yep. So that's what I got.
That's right.
Yeah.
Brad Sanders. I didn't make it to December's meeting, and I always try to make little trinkets for the kids and for the wife for Christmas. And I got cut short on time, so I decided to do just a simple little snowman. And I just took some braided wire, stuck in for his arms, and it was a piece of holly that I had. That's about the whitest wood that I had on hand. But for a quick little knockout, if you need a little hostess gift or something at Christmas time, they're pretty quick and simple to make.
There you go.
Scott from Warrensburg. I want to start with a collaboration project that Corey and I did. And thanks to Lori, I now have a laser engraver. Okay, so I've upgraded a little bit. So this tree was a tree over on MacArthur and Decatur Street. It had a huge burl growing up on it, about 2 feet off the ground. It circumnavigated the entire trunk.
You got that?
Me and Corey got that. Okay.
I drove by that for years, then one day it was gone.
Yep.
You might want to leave early tonight.
Yeah. Feel a little warm. A lot of people felt that way.
Yeah, to just throw something else on the story here. I walked up to the lady's door, knocked on it, and said, I see that you've got this maple tree that has died, and it's got this big burl on it. And I handed her one of my business cards. She looked at it and she said, I've been waiting on you to come here. And she wanted someone who could take that burl, appreciate it, and do whatever you could out of it. So it's been a
Wow,
fun
I drove by that thing
Yeah.
a long time.
I talk about it to other people and they're like, I know that tree. And
I
I
know
say,
exactly that.
I got it. So I made a logo like that, and we've got 8 pieces so far. This came from the burl. We did a big, he showed me how to do the core cutting. So this is the middle bowl. We've got a huge 22 by 21 inch bowl, the bigger piece. And we're gonna carve that into a tulip, 4-petal tulip. That's in my head, but not in my hands yet. And then we got a smaller piece that goes in this. So this was 3 pieces of a core from what they called it, and they called it the Buddha tree. That was their little tree of
Did you
meditation.
give her one, or are you?
All of these are gonna go, like we're gonna do is offer all of them to her, let her pick what she wants, and then we get to keep the rest. But we got 7 pieces so far. And this is another one, all the spalting, from, this was higher up, this was from the burl, this was higher up in the tree. And I got other pieces, and I just found 2 more pieces up on the shelf from this. It's good to label all your work, And so I've got a wipe-on poly on the bottom, and it's halfway done, so I don't have poly on the inside yet. So these 2 came from that tree. Forsyth Park maintenance guys called me and asked me if I wanted an Osage tree. They called me twice. The second time I got both trees. This one was a huge Osage tree, and this is the second piece that hasn't really cracked on me. This is the alien thing, right?
Yeah, it could be.
Right?
There you go.
Got that, or it's a hat.
Derby hat.
Derby hat. And borrowing Sam's hollowing tools, this is what let me borrow that. I was able to really hollow this out. I mean, that's pretty good for me. It's the hollowest I've done. Okay, Osage.
But before you put that down, explain the numbers.
Oh, okay, so a thing I'm doing lately, I got it on the walnut tree too. When someone's given me a tree, I will put the coordinates of the map, you know, when we're at the tree, cutting the tree down, I'll mark my coordinates on the map and write the coordinates down, and then I'll put these coordinates down. Now it's different from your degrees, minutes, and seconds. It's this coordinates. I did that specifically because if you have degrees, minutes, and seconds, anyone will pick up on that right away. But this makes people think a little bit more, and that's what I wanted to do. And so this tree came from Forsyth Park there in Forsyth, Illinois, right on the edge of my cousin's property. She let me actually plug into her house and use my electric chainsaw to cut that thing up and then load it up. So there's that. And then another neighbor is a walnut tree, and with that laser engraver, I put a walnut tree still growing near me because it's still growing. And so this is just a beautiful crotch piece I got. This design is based on Stuart Dias's book, Classic Forms. Pulled it up to show you guys. This is called a crater bowl design. Get his book on Amazon, right there. Now I have that open up on my kitchen table, and as I drink coffee in the morning, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it sideways, so all the drawings are sideways like they are on our lathe. I cover up half of the picture, you know, so you're looking at half the shape, because that's the way we look at it on the lathe. And that's the way I study pictures now, just kind of looking at them like this. Does anyone else do it that way? When you look and study at design, you always look at them this way? Every which way, okay. Well, I'm starting to look at them this way more and trying to visualize shapes and designs more like that. But this is called a crater bowl design, a 6th century Greek design. And that's it for me this month, guys.
Yeah. If we don't hear from you from next month, we'll know what happened.
Better go on the guard, Nobody in that row?
No, nothing. Corey doesn't have anything?
No.
No?
I elaborated on a couple of them.
Hickory walnut mold with polyurethane on it, same as I made before. I made these mahogany, that center part there years ago, it's been laying around, but I probably thought something to do with it, so I made that one. And I got one there, oh, these are, got hollows, of course. That's another one. This is hard maple, and I got that off the guy who wanted me making a paperweight, and this is some of the balance of the stuff. And they'd been filled there with some polish on the top, they call it filler sometime. There's a walnut maple. And this is some I glued up together. This has got Woodturners finish on it, but it's kind of dull. So I need to put something maybe in the sun. Nice. Very, very good.
Hello, I'm Jerry Rose from St. Joseph. I got a piece of ginkgo I got from someplace down south, someplace, Ashton or, hell, I can't remember. Anyhow, I did a high texture and dye and liming wax, but I left the big inside with the raw wood, and cause I've been texturing everything all the way through on some of my smaller ones, but I said, make some natural, so I did.
Cool.
Favors on this. I have a wig stand and segmented. I have a friend, Terry, he just bought some kind of machine to cut wedges, puts it on his bandsaw. And he says, I need to practice. I says, well, make me some and I'll make wig stands out of it. So he gets to practice making them, and then I'll turn them. And these are sweet to turn. I mean, like no end grain on it.
Yeah, right.
What is it?
Perfect.
What kind of wood is it?
Like,
This is oak,
Oak?
yeah.
Being faced.
And there was a flaw in the wood. I was ready to throw it away. He said, no, keep it. So after I got the polyurethane on there, I think it turned out pretty nice.
Absolutely.
And this is number 497.
Wow.
So close!
I took, the wife and I took 35 weeks stand up to Peoria about a month ago.
Terry just said at his shop, he took 52 and 29 of them were mine.
Yeah.
Anybody else got any, anything else? No? All right, we'll do a quick drawing, then take a break and get ready for the demonstration. I think tonight's big prize for the raffle.
hey, what's with all the rough turnings over here?
Those are, Brad brought those in. Those are some of the ones that Dwight Crane did. So if you're interested in one of them, talk to Brad there. But
I noticed someone in the club had been turning some cardboard, it looked like over there.
That's huge, yeah, huge. He hasn't been to a couple meetings lately.
But tonight's raffle, big raffle, is a face mask.
Last name off the top of my head.
Because if you saw that video I posted to the group, I don't know if anybody saw that one. The guy was turning one on the lathe and it just chucked it right back straight into his face mask. So it's always important to wear your face mask while turning. That was scary. So. All right, first number up for the show and tell prizes on the table there. 378. I'm not sure what kind of wood we got here. That little log on the end is very heavy. They all feel wet. Looks like that's a. Yeah, there's a big. That's in the white bag, isn't it?
Eastern red cedar.
In the. All right.
I don't want to carry wood out.
Get the light stuff. 386. 386. Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. 382. All right.
Just about out of these.
383.
That's the way I look at it. It's way.
I will take that. This one? I don't know. What was that wood? Who brought that one in?
I brought it in, I don't know what it is, it was on the burrow pile, I don't know where it came from.
That kind of mulberry or maybe. Yeah. 379. 379. Is that mine? Yeah, it is mine.
Go pick something.
Looks like you got the heaviest one there. 376.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, two last things there. 384. Who's got 384? Dead regifting? All right. We got a set of pipe clamp holders up here too if you want. That's not a pipe clamp, but it's a stand for a pipe.
Stand.
It's not clamped, it's more of a stand. You put the pipe through there and
Keeps it up off the counter.
All right. And 380. Hey, last one. get a good, big old chunk of wood to start with.
Now you get to try his bigger legs.
Yeah. Did he give you his old one?
Yeah.
All right, so that's all of them. So we'll go ahead and take a quick break for a little bit, and we'll get the raffle tickets over there.
There's a place in Hartford that has a 50-inch wide triple-headed
Is that okay?
Yeah, it's like owned by the Amish.
Is that over there by Park?
I started saying it on Saturday. That's right. Forgot the guy told me that was a big old.
Okay.
I'm a 47 buddy that used to live in Cleveland. I had a buddy, he used to live in.
Oh, well, there ain't many there.
Come back, split that with a little water, and it was.
You know where, when Rose was in the park, one side of the park. And those two pieces, and then I've got a couple of. Go ahead, Scott.
After it, yeah, it took me Corey and another guy to pick up just half of it. We've got half.
When I worked in when I worked in studio basement,
Maybe should have done some research on watercolor pencils before I get them, because I didn't know if we were. I just didn't care for the outcome. I think I gave all the pencils here.
and then one day it's gone. I just never had to get this.
Say, hey, what are you doing with that? We know what we're doing with that. Okay.
That was, it was the biggest pearl I've ever seen. It was the whole, all the way around the street.
Probably send them over there on the
I hope
corner.
it's not as much as rotted.
Very solid. This next week is the biggest. Part of it to look back on yes. Then I'm trying to figure out the way to lay it up on the table just a little bit. And I found chunks that went off of the burrow, and I think space.
I mean, most
I can tell.
Yeah.
The picture of the lady. We learned all that. 3 for 5. Then there's stuff. I saw somebody take out the small pieces. Measuring spoon handles. Trying to use it like spoon handles. This is the first thing we ever got to learn. I don't know if I exactly what I was doing.
Thank you. I believe you. You're real lucky just before you die.
If you want to say.
I'd like to see it, but at the same time, it's not so it's cedar, it's gonna look like that. That's what the sounds like. If you wanna use that like
I go by it for a long time, and finally I see a guy walk out of there, and we leave that truck going like
I'm like, I have a feeling if I like leave it in the middle of the floor, that it will fit. So then I left it for a day, and I was like, when I came back, it was like kind of tighter, and I'm like, oh, and then I left it for a day, and then I left it to pop, and I was like,
I'm serious. The wife was like, she watched sunset. John and Bob. Well, yeah, that was and we got that all hooked up, and then this guy walks out. And the wife, we may sell the bottom. Remember that? Yeah. I'd go buy that. I just didn't have the guts to stop.
There was a little somewhere.
How many years ago was that?
19 September. September 19. That's a turnaround, 5 years.
My neighbor had to knock that down, and they'd done that a couple of years. So I went over and asked him if I could have this stuff. It's wet, so it'll be a while before I go freezing. She said, well, it's dead. Well, dead and green are two different things.
That's what you had. GPS.
Who'd you say males? Who'd you say males?
Oh, I understand.
Okay, all right.
It still had roots in the ground too. Well, no, it didn't. Because actually, I had pushed the stump over and cut a piece out and throw it back in the truck. Yeah, it was dead. Actually, I didn't push it. Somehow they got it knocked over.
Disappointed.
And moved it. That's to the bush.
You just never know until you break into it. Once you get into it.
They can see. It's quite obvious. You're running out of plane. You've got a stack of bowls all day.
brought in a couple of Hawaiian people. How much are you roughhouse? Huh? How much are you roughhouse?
Go back tomorrow. And she don't have a whole lot of time left on her.
I don't even know what the mailbox is.
Water's free there.
I was talking to Ryan, he should have just given me time. In fact, I got over there. All right, so that was the big thing. 468 numbers.
Change my mind.
These are some of the easy things, yeah. Yeah, one ball, I'll put a couple of.
Okay. That's for all. You want it? You want it?
No. You already got the tickets?
Yeah. Yeah, if you want them, I don't care.
Oh, that's so hard,
If there were,
Thanks for doing it.
Well, this place one really good bonfire.
You'll be, double doors to the top.
One in October and one in January. Yeah, I'm not tough enough to go both of them at the same time. I had enough to do that.
First go, terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I, like I say, one in October and one in January. It's doable, not fun, but doable. I can't imagine both of them at once. I really can't. She did that. How long was recovery? How long ago was it? No. That's tough to do that.
I think so too.
Well, when we get, after the drawing.
thank you, it was just funny, I always remember that, is it one bag? Even though I didn't say it, I didn't notice it at first, and I didn't notice it being, you had the other one on top. It was like red, but I know it came from real cake. I thought to myself,
I can't tell you how many.
Wow.
yeah, that was a big draw.
I wouldn't get it. I wouldn't get it, and then I quit, and I did something.
All right, last call for tickets.
Wow. She was in a lot of pain. Wow.
Go to Google.
Take a piece of flat.
They get it taken care of.
It does.
Together, take it. Middle two boards, bring it over here.
pre-finished. They were, the one box company, the white was all together.
Everybody got their tickets?
Good. That'd be scary.
All right, we'll go ahead and draw tonight. First number, 411. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Chicken.
And there goes that mask.
I told you you'd be a winner.
Yeah, there he goes.
You're right.
Next ticket, 418.
Wait a minute, you told me all of
Hold on, what's my number?
them. He's not done drawing.
Well, that's one of mine. Hey, Logan, come up here and pick something for me. All right.
Thank you.
417. Is that mine too? Yes, it is. I am mixing these up, all right? Did you get any tickets? I can't remember what your name is.
Obia?
What was it?
Obia.
Ovia? You get any tickets? Huh? Come on up and pick one. Yeah, pick whatever you want.
Up there too.
It's too heavy at this point, someone else pick it up.
I can do it.
That's good. This is a little bowl starter. You're welcome.
Piece of ass.
410.
That's a good shot there. Yeah, it is.
415.
Yeah.
More cedar?
Yep. I think both the big ones there are cedar tonight. It looks like it might be sassafras. Is this who brought this one in?
Burrow,
The burrow? Okay.
fresh cut.
I said it looked like the way the bark looks and that hole going down through the middle. I thought it might have been sassafras.
That's what he told me it was.
406. What you want, Larry? This little guy here?
It's hedged. It's hedged from all, I didn't finish it. That's a piece of delight.
412.
The mulberry or hedge there. It's on the bottom.
You break it, you buy it.
It didn't break.
Okay.
414.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh, I thought there were raffles. Was there any other parts of it? Were there other parts of it? No. Okay. I honestly thought they were all over here, so I thought they were all raffles.
I'm sorry.
It's. Okay. 414, is that yours, Jerry? Okay. 399.
Yeah, I wanted a chicken dinner.
Why, you already got one? I know, that's all you want.
416.
You, John.
No, it's not one of mine. 416. That's 416.
Oh, hell. I'm sorry.
Should've just stayed up here, Jerry. I swear I am mixing them up. All right, 407 will be the next one. Which one, Larry?
Yeah, whatever that little thing got right there in front.
This guy? Are these?
That's been putty. That's leftover balloon.
Yeah, I get one of those white. 404. Rifle not found. All right, we got three more things. 408.
Logan.
There was Burrow.
You could make a small Logan Club out of those.
405. What do you want? Clamp? Hold your finger out.
This here's steel?
Yeah. I got a pinch by one of those last, did it back in December. All right, 413. Hey, you got some more wood?
I told you all of them.
What'd I tell you, Roger?
You were right.
There you go. All right, let me get the cameras angled and pointed here if you want to get set up there with yours.
Yeah, they also got this little picture too much. Make it flush.
I didn't know if you want to put those pieces together back there.
Yeah.
There's one. Individual one.
Yeah. All right. I don't think we'll need the, you want the,
Probably, I guess.
she's on mute right now. Big gray button at the top will reset it, unmute it.
Oh, the big gray button?
Okay. And we swing this over here. Let's go around back here. That way it's not in the way.
Oh, to do.
Give it a try.
Gray button.
Okay, how's that?
Sounds good.
Sound all right? Okay, if you want to go ahead and put what I've got up on the screen.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Axminster Excentric spiraling chuck. And it's just another way of doing the offset turning. And we've had a couple of demos in the last year on various offset turning. This is just another method of doing it. And it's not actually a chuck. It's just an accessory or an item that fits into your standard 4-jaw chuck. The components of this chuck are, has a faceplate, 3 screw holes that you screw into your workpiece just like any other faceplate. It also has indexing slots around the front of it. There are 12 indexing, so it's every 30 degrees it has the indexing. There's 2 little modifications I made after using this one for about a month now. One of the things I did was I drilled out the screw holes a little bit, not very much, but it allowed me to get a number 12 screw in instead of a 10. And also I use a stainless steel screw to try to get a little bit more strength, because that's really the only thing holding this thing in place. So it has the indexing faceplate, and then the other 2 components, it has what they called a pivot plate, and the pivot plate has 2 screws. One is a pivot screw, the other is the adjustment screw. Try not to lose that. So that is the pivot plate here. It also has a little pin that fits into the index slots, and it has a scribed line for alignment. The third is the dovetail ring. It has a dovetail that fits onto the chuck. That's what holds it there. And it has 9 adjustment screws. The center screw is the neutral or center position, and then it has 4 screws on each side, and the screws on each side are what give you the offset. So you can go whatever distance it is. I didn't try to figure out what distance it is, but you can go all the way to the maximum offset on one side and then to the other side, or you can go lesser amounts in between. The indexing part, that adjustment will get you the spiral. So if you're doing a piece like this one or like that one there, you would use the screw adjustments to get this side-to-side indexing, the side-to-side offset. If you were wanting to do the spiral effect, you would use the indexing portion of it. That's what would get you that portion. So that's the components of the chuck. As far as the wood blank, we're going to start out with a standard wood blank, just like, anything. About 2.5 inches square is about the best. There's not really any advantage to going to anything larger. If you start out with 3.5 or 4 or 6, you're just going to turn that wood away, because the maximum offset that you can get from maximum this way to maximum this way, and I think that's what this one is, will still get you within the confines of a 2.5 inch square. Sorry. Okay. One of the things that's really important when you start out with your wood blank is to make sure that you've got a square cut, because otherwise this thing is going to go off at an angle, and you're going to have to turn away all of that stuff to get down to a cylinder. Okay? I've got a portion of this done. I took the square block and turned it to a cylinder. You guys all know how to do that. You didn't need me to stand up here for 10 minutes to do that for you. So I've turned the square into a cylinder, and I did that with it, everything set up in the neutral position. That's where we're going to start. I also turned a little radius at the top, and I turned a small tenon, about a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch tenon. And what that allows me to do is then take whatever object I want to and glue onto the top of it. This piece here, this started out as a practice piece. I didn't think it was going to be a final product of anything. I just grabbed a piece of poplar and started turning, and it kind of turned out okay. So I decided I would stain it with cherry stain, and once I got it that far, I looked around the house and I found a cherry sphere that I had turned a couple of years ago, drilled a 1/2-inch hole in it and put it on the top of it, so it wound up to be a finished piece. You can do it with the small tenon on the top, or you can actually turn whatever you want as part of the piece. This was turned all as one piece. This one was turned all as one piece, and this one had the pieces glued on to that tenon. Okay. When you get to this point, you stop for a minute and think about, what do I want this thing to look like whenever I'm done? And you kind of lay out the space you have available. So we know we're going to lose this. This is a waste block down here. It's got the screws going in. So normally you would consider that to be wasted space. I know I want to have a little base on it. I know that I want to have one spindle. I've got a transition between the top and the bottom spindle and another spindle, and then the transition to whatever my top piece is. So you need to kind of take a minute to think about, what am I going to do, and where do I need to leave my space to do that? Okay. We'll talk about a little bit about this first adjustment. Don't go anywhere, stay there. All right, so the first adjustment, what I'm going to do is I've used the center position for what I've turned here. But now I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the farthest position. I'm going to go ahead, and that will be my position for making my next turning. And I said I did 2 modifications to my little gadget here. The second one is, it came with flathead screws in these 2 screws. And flathead screws are nice, but they got a little bitty Allen wrench, a little bitty hex head Allen in there. So I replaced it with these socket head cap screws so that I could use a larger Allen wrench. And as it just so happened to turn out, they both turned out to be the same. So now I only have to deal with one wrench, a larger one, instead of the smaller. So I'll go ahead and I've set it all the way to the extreme on one side, and now I have this set up for what I'm going to do next.
So them screws do not have to be flush?
No, they don't have to be flush. There's enough clearance. You got to be a little careful, because if you happen to get your finger right there or something.
Is there a place you can go to your Ace store and pick them up off the shelf?
Yes, indeed. That's where they came from, Ace Hardware.
Okay.
Okay? So this is our starting position where we're going to turn the first spindle. Okay, and it's one other thing I want to talk about before we go to the next step in this process, and that's what you kind of see up on the screen there now. If you look at the YouTube videos that are out there, and there aren't very many, there's not a lot of information about this thing. But if you look at the 3 or 4 YouTube videos that are out there, or if you look at Axminster's information, they never talk about using the tailstock as an additional support. The first time we took this over to Sam's shop and we were playing with it one day, several of us over there, Sam thought that, hey, there's got to be a way where you can use the tailstock for some additional support. And experimenting with it a little bit, yes you can. This piece here, I wanted to do a longer than normal piece for the demo tonight. So, and I wanted to prove out whether you can or cannot use the tailstock for support. So I started out with this piece, and we started out on center. So there's my tailstock support for on center, right there in that location there in the middle. Then as we went to the first spindle or the first lobe on my little crankshaft here, there is the dimple from the live center for the first position. And then as I turned to the second position, it just started moving around. And it stayed pretty consistent up to 4, and then on 5 and 6, it started getting a little bit off. It didn't quite follow. And I don't know whether at that point you started getting a little bit of sag or what the deal was, but by then you were down to about this point here. So all of your mass of wood was back here. This might have moved enough. It didn't quite follow a true concentric circle, but pretty close. It proved the point that you can do that. You have to be a little careful not to put too much pressure. You just want a little point. And what I used was, I used a live setter with a very sharp point so that you didn't have to push to get it to go into the wood a little bit. And this worked out pretty well. It actually gives you that support so that you don't have this trying to flop around out there. The other thing that I want to mention about that particular piece, there it is. You know, you don't have a lot of strength there. And you have straight grain, and where it makes these transitions, it's not real strong. I did have this one split on me. I was able to glue it back together and salvage the piece. But what I did was I started using the black electrician's tape, stretchy tape, that after I turned the first 2 and was getting ready to work on the third one, I was able to wrap tape down to this point. And then as I finished the third one and moved to the fourth one, I just kept going down with the tape. And that did provide some support for this to keep it from splitting or breaking. So that was a part of the learning process along the way. You won't find any information in the YouTube videos about that. Okay. So now we're back to here, and we're a couple of more minor things, and then we're going to try to turn this in the first row. I turned one for practice on a Sunday morning, and I did manage to spray the walls of this workshop with it. So, okay, so I've got this set up. We've got, I put a black mark on my index. I have a black mark on my pivot plate, and I put a mark on the workpiece with an arrow so that I won't get confused that I want to turn the workpiece in this direction when I make it from adjustment 1 to adjustment 2 to adjustment 12. So we've got that all set up and ready to go. As I said, these holes are for side-to-side adjustment, like these are. The indexing marks are going to be for spiraling like these are. And what I'm going to try to do here is turn the first spindle with this offset, and then for the second one I'm going to leave the offset the way it is and adjust the index to get the second one, so that you'll be able to see both features of it. That's what we've got there. Okay. In the literature, they use this eccentric chuck for a lot of ingrained decorative patterns. They do spirals and they do all sorts of things. I've not played with that. We're not going to talk about that this evening. We're just going to do the offset and the spiral. And the last little bit of information here is I'm pretty sure I paid $97 for mine. I've seen them as high as $132, but Woodturners Wonder has them for $80.
I just got one $80.
Hmm?
I just got one $80.
Did you? Okay, yeah. I don't think they didn't have them whenever I bought mine about 3 or 4 months ago, or I didn't see it, one or the other. So, but anyway, that gives you an idea about what they cost. Okay? I'm done with this.
All right.
Have you used your crowbar?
It's not out of the box yet. Yeah, I want to see the demo first.
Make sure you wear your mask.
Yeah,
Yes, make sure you wear your mask.
Ted, you want a mask?
it makes some good stems on a wick stand.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
All right, so I want to make sure that my alignment marks are lined up, so that a couple of reasons. I want to know where I'm sorting. I want to make sure that I turn it in the same direction all the time. And if I want to go back and do some additional work to one of those lobes, that I can get back to where I started. And on that one I did. On this one here, whenever I was all completely done with it, I reversed the process and went back to each one of those lobes to do some additional sanding and touch up anything that wasn't quite right, to a mark or whatever. So, and these things do loosen up, so you gotta kind of keep your eye out for something that doesn't look right or sound right, and check it to make sure it gets tightened up. All right. One last thing is, we are not going to try to turn little bitty spindles like this, and we are not going to try to turn little bitty transition pieces. We are going to do something a little bit more like this. We're going to leave a little meat on the bone, okay? So,
Do you know what kind of wood that is, John?
this is Sam wood.
Well, that's why I asked, because I didn't know, and I thought maybe somebody else would know.
I don't know what this is. It's a fairly light wood, but
I got it from a pallet.
in turning this one, it wasn't too bad to turn at all. So. Okay. And obviously, it's off-center, so you have to kind of get a rough idea where the outside, the widest spot is. All right. We'll try it there. What do we gotta do, John?
Pull the switch and then
Okay.
turn the knob to speed it up.
Okay. Most of the time I turn this around 700 or 800 RPM. You get down toward the end, maybe you could go a little bit more than that. That's about 600 there. Okay, enough of that. Let's see what we got. Okay, so we're getting there. And we're loose. Yeah, that one there's loosey. Where I had most of the trouble was right here in this transition, getting it to where it wouldn't jump backwards and maybe, take a chunk out. I tried a whole bunch of different ways, and I eventually got there. But I can't say that I really knew what I was doing.
Were you using a spindle gouge?
Yes. And again, I tried a variety of things. This seemed like it worked about as good as any. I did try using a skew for coming in here. And I would do that in my shop, but I certainly wouldn't do that in public. Now that's a little better.
You got a weird noise coming from it. Has it come loose again?
No, it's right here. Not sure what it was. So that's pretty much the first one. You can see how much it's offset. And you have to do all of your sanding on this portion of it right here.
Now that first move there, that was the extreme?
That's correct. That was the extreme on the side-to-side adjustment.
Okay.
So I'm not going to do very much sanding. We all pretty good at sanding, better than we all do more sanding than we want to. But at this point, when I got all my tool marks out and I got everything to the size I wanted, pretty close, I would sand the bottom portion of the transition, the spindle, and the top portion of this transition. So that would be where I would do the sanding. So that's pretty much what I would do for my first piece. And now I would get ready to make the move to the second piece. So since we're going to try to make a spiral move, we will use the indexes, and I'll take this screw loose at the back here. You don't have to take it out, you just have to loosen it about halfway. And you can move it any amount you want to. If I move it 3 slots, it should give me a spindle that is about 90 degrees. It should give me a spindle that's exactly 90 degrees. So that's what I'm going to do. So 1, 2, 3. A couple of advantages maybe to using this opposed to between centers, offset turning, is repeatability. You know, it's more of a mechanical thing than trying to measure 3/8 of an inch. And
Okay.
Now, the ones I've seen, John, they said use a waist block on that. Does that take the place of your piece there?
a waste block on what, the bottom?
Yes.
Yeah, could very well. And, you know, there's a lot of options. Whenever you get out there in your shop and doing it, on this one here, the screw holes are inside of here, and I just put a base on it to cover up the screw holes.
But if you use a waste block, would you rely on glue to hold that?
I don't know.
I would rather trust the screws than trust glue for something that off-center. That's just the thought.
Or an inch of waste wood. Or an inch of wood or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if you make that about an inch longer, and so you could bring up the tailstock.
That's, yes.
That is my thinking.
Yes, and that's exactly what I did here. If you left an extra little block out here, you could bring up the tailstock.
You
Yep.
you can still turn down your spigot that you've got on there.
Right.
Cut that off later.
Cut it off later. That's exactly right. You could put an extra block out here and cut it off later. Yep, no doubt about it. And like I talked about, I don't know why they don't tell you that in part of their videos as part of the information that they put out about it. So we kind of figured that out on our own, or at least Sam did.
Health center, yes.
Yeah, they don't give very much information on that.
British.
Okay, our widest swing now is over here, and that does look like it's about 90 degrees. Yeah. So I think we will get that desired effect, that the next spindle will be over here, about 90 degrees off from that. We'll give it a try. So that kind of gives you the idea of what it would be. Again, do the sanding, get rid of your tool marks, and then when you're all finished, part it off, and that's essentially what you would have.
When you do your sanding, do you reverse sand as well so that you have kind of matching, like, hump, I guess?
Well, I don't, but I think you probably should. A lot of my chucks don't have set screws. I've got a couple of them like this one where I bought them with a 1" 8 thread, or I got them at a garage sale and used the adapter. So I do a minimal amount of reverse turning, but I know that the people who know what they're doing do sand in reverse as well as forward. So.
What kind of chuck is that you got there?
Nova. This is almost all of the chucks I have are Nova. That's what I wound up with early on, and just tried to maintain them. I think I got about 6, and I try not to change jaws. I just try to have one set of jaws in every chuck.
That's like Jerry, one set for every.
Yep.
Every chuck.
Except Jerry does lathes.
Got a lathe.
Yeah. Jerry does a different lathe for every different kind of style.
That's what the guy who used to be at CU Woodshop, I can't think of his name, Mike, said he had 47 routers. So, instead of changing bits, he would buy a new router for the new bit. So, crude as my turning was here tonight, I mean, that's it, you know. This is 90 degrees off from the top one. That's the effect you can
90
get.
or 180?
I turned the indexing 3 of the 12 slots. So 1/4 of a circle is what I turned it to, because I was trying to get a spiral effect. I wasn't trying to get a 180 degrees off. That would have been.
That's the same as that?
This one is 180 degrees off because I used the adjustment screw instead of the indexing marks to do this one. So these are the side to side using the indexing screw, those 9 holes. These are the spiral, and they're using the indexing marks going around. And of course, I'm sure you can use a combination of the two, and who knows what the hell you get. So. All right, you know everything I know. Any more questions? Good. Okay. Thank you, guys.
I thought they were more expensive than that 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably were when they were made.
All righty.
497.
That's it?
That's probably less.
No, there's not. When somebody says an eccentric chuck, you think $400, and the way they did it, allowing you to use something you already had.
With the gun officer there?
There might be a lot of things that would help. This one does have to be flat, but.
Now I understand.
How far it'd swing over.
I'm about ready to start though. Not as quick as I thought.
Well, you know, you might be able to.
That's gonna be.
You might have enough room on the inside of it where you could put a cap head or a lock.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some things you could do, and you could also use a little impact drill. But I didn't want to do it.
I'd be worried about screwing the threads or something.
Right, exactly. So,